Spending all my nights alone, waiting for you to call me. You're the only one I want. All right, legs, whatever these things are. It's a beautiful day outside, and I thought I'd put out a video today before I go out and do some beautiful things. But the first thing that I wanted to mention before I left was this Cardi B, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it. You know, this isn't a news channel or any kind of tabloid, but I'm always interested in the shit going on in the music industry because I'm generally trying to wrap my head around why and see if I can rationalize it and make it make sense, translate it for myself. So Cardi B's response to this entire situation and her doing what she did in the first place is just a constant reminder in my mind of why population control needs to be a thing. And that is not an okay for any of you extremists out there, but it is an okay for NASA, you know, as technologically advanced as they are, to, if they wanted to, theoretically, hypothetically, if you wanted to take about 6 billion people off this planet, take them to another planet and come back after like 20 to 30 years and see who survived and bring them back so we can have the most productive members of society left on the planet, I'm not saying that I would be okay with that, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't be. This incident happened sometime in December where Cardi B got into a disagreement with a couple bartenders, and the speculation is it was over Offset. That's problem number one for Cardi B, is because you cannot disassociate yourself from these people. The fact that there was contact made between you two and you have no idea who they are is reason number one this whole thing is fishy. Number two, if the only interaction that they can recall between themselves and you is that of a negative one, then their further accusation from this point would be reasonable, especially if they've been bartenders at this establishment for quite a while, and then the moment they come in contact with you, they all of a sudden get bum rushed by two grown-ass men. I don't really think it's a coincidence, but hey, Cardi B, you have a solid history of drugging men. I don't know why you didn't just drug them too. First of all, the agreement to meet, to me, in my opinion, is a signal of guilt. Because if I didn't do anything, there's no reason for me to fucking meet you. But she met with him in October, denied the accusations, was charged with 2 misdemeanors, assault and reckless endangerment, and moved on. Came back through the courts and was told not to contact these people anymore, and that was that. Now she's got 14 new charges, 2 of which are felony assault. Now, I can't speak to all the counts. I can't be 100% certain on whether or not she'll even be doing maximum time for each count. But what I do know is the rap game has like no idols. Now, adults, when you get older, you start to take accountability for the shit that you do, which also comes with its consequences. When you decide to become an adult and then you start accepting accountability for the things that you do, then there are also consequences for that accountability. But again, you're an adult, you're grown. That's what you signed up for. The ability to do whatever you want to do can also have its consequences. My issue here with Cardi B isn't really, I mean, yeah, it is what she did, but it's the response to it. Again, this sense of entitlement that people have, it's odd because I feel like celebrities, for the most part, allow their money to get too big and think that they are above the system that kind of keeps everyone, quote unquote, in check, as broken as it is, as inconsistent as it may be. When it comes to hard evidence, I mean, if they got you, they got you. Now, TMZ posted that headline, and then Cardi B decided to go off. How are you in any justifiable position right now? Harvey, you wrinkle fake tan bitch. Wow. You don't profit on talking about white celebrities, so you don't go out of your way to report shit on people in the urban culture and even make shit up. Number one, Cardi B. You've said yourself that you don't actually give a fuck about the urban culture. All you really care about is the money. All you really need is the money. You said yourself that you don't care about being hip-hop or even representing it in a proper fashion. So
what are you talking about?
I'm not saying that I like TMZ, because I certainly do not, and especially after what happened with T.I. and them reporting on his sister, I was completely disgusted by that. However, I will say that if a lot of white musicians were doing as much publicly as black musicians are, I'm sure they would talk about them just as much. But we're popping, okay? Crazy how 2 months ago, my publicist had to go out of her way to prove to you guys that I had surgery because you insisted that I was pregnant, and you was going to tell that you was going to report because of reliable. Okay, that's just you wanting fat removed. I don't care about that. Never did jail time. People who are guilty sometimes don't do jail time at first. Don't have no criminal record, but they want to drag this case because they want fame and they want press. They're not even in public. I haven't seen these girls that are accusing you of whatever you've been accused of. If you've been on video throwing shit at them, and then subsequently the same night, these chicks also get jumped by 2 random ass men, I don't think there's any reason not to believe that you have something to do with it. Like I said, population control, all right? Send everyone to fucking Venus just for 1 year. I don't understand how I've been to court 6 times for a misdemeanor, and now you try to upgrade to a felony, the lowest of the low, because I refuse to agree to your terms. Well, one of the terms was you agreeing to a misdemeanor. It was a deal. Because again, if you had something to do with that, then I think it would have been in your best interest to accept that deal. See, they tell people who don't commit the crimes not to accept the deal because they literally didn't do anything. Prosecutors are in meetings talking about she hangs with gang members, but you don't talk about my clean ass record. You've admitted to doing shit that just police can't provide evidence to. But if they did, you'd basically have a rap sheet. So stop. Talk about all the private donations I get. It's like private donation. I got keys for Marlboro. Like I gave coats to motherfucker. Like it's like she thinks that people can't be more than just this. It's like she thinks that people can't be these multi-layered individuals who are okay in some instances and are shitty in others. Like you think people are these one-dimensional characters that if you're good 100%, and if you're bad 100%, and there is no in between, no gray area, no moment where you might fuck up or do something that you weren't supposed to do. She's unaware of how that thing works. Like you donating has any correlation to you throwing ice at bartenders because they may have slept with your man. Population control. I'm telling you, we need to be on some Hunger Games shit, okay? Just have about at least 1,000 people in every city just go at it in a room and one person survive. Now, that whole thing just spelled entitlement to me. And that's another thing that I feel that she's allowed her celebrity to overtake her condition. Like you're not in a condition or in a position to reason or bargain with or complain right now, especially after you, a person who claims to be a feminist, had 2 women jumped allegedly after supposedly sleeping with your man. Then you move the goalposts from it being about you to it being about this racism bullshit, or oh, TMZ wants to profit off urban culture, which they do, but you specifically did something. She reminds me of that kid, the one that, you know, was talking about all over Twitter and how Twitter ended up making the N-word trend because this kid didn't get into fucking Harvard. Like I'm supposed to feel bad for this sack of shit because he's being a grown-up and having to face the consequences of something that he said. Like the entitlement and you feeling like you should be absolved of any kind of consequence based off you feeling like conditions weren't right for you to have said or done what you did is astonishing to me. Then people all over Twitter made it seem like this dude was being given the death sentence. No, he's just not allowed at Harvard. Regardless of Harvard's past, this kid said some shitty shit, and now he's facing accountability for it. This is the consequence. You're an adult. I'm gonna put this out here right now. All right, call me sexist if you want. Women don't make it criminals. Okay, I'm just putting that out there right now. All right, you can call me sexist if you want. All right, I'm sorry. Maybe feminists are right. Maybe men are just the toxicity of the world because women suck at this shit. The entitlement jumped out. I mean, say what you want about Nicki Minaj, but at least she stays out of trouble. Can't really speak to her choices in men, but it's evident to me that the more and more that I grow and the more and more that I continue to follow up on what's going on in the music industry, the more and more I'm aware of how many celebrities that throw themselves to the camera as humble, but are actually extremely fucking ungrateful. And when something happens against their image, they throw a temper tantrum and they throw the responsibility at everyone else to be accountable for some shit that they did. I call them ungrateful because once you get out of her position and you finally have a ton of money right now, your only responsibilities, your only priorities at this point is just making sure your career is in check and that your baby is safe. That's all you really should care about. All this starting fights and all this throwing water and drinks and ice at people and going and showing up to people's workplace, that to me just spells ego and it spells entitlement. It spells to me that you felt like you could do some of this shit and you could get away with it. That to me spells entitlement. That to me shows me that you haven't faced enough consequence for as many actions and as many wrongdoings as you've committed. And so you thought this time would be different. That's why you're lashing out right now. I gave Cardi B the benefit of the doubt last time because in my opinion, there were no male victims. There was no one that came forward despite her admission. Even though a lot of you felt she was wrong, and I agree with you that she was wrong, if no one comes forward to corroborate the story, then police aren't going to charge her. There's no evidence. Yes, admissions still need evidence. And this is in no way a kind of free reign to the male rappers, because I know there's an extreme disconnect when it comes to people and putting the responsibility and accountability on male rappers versus female rappers. Like, some of your favorite MCs aren't guilty of doing some really whacked out shit right now. I mean, Lil Durk just got released, and that's great, but he was accused of shooting a man. Meanwhile, all I see is support and nothing but free Durk under every single Instagram post I see of this dude's picture. I just think half of the people that really are happy about Cardi B's situation right now are just incels that, you know, hate women. You gotta understand, all money does is make you into more of who you really were. It doesn't change people like a lot of people like to think. Change comes from self-reflection and introspection. It doesn't come from external access. I'd be perfectly fine with any artist facing the charges or the consequence of something that there's evidence of them doing. I don't have a problem with that, whether they're male or female. So if it's Cardi B in this case and she's charged and she's convicted, oh fucking well. I've been tired of watching people go down for weed charges and getting 5 years in prison while Cardi B gets to assault people and not face any time at all. If this is what happens, then that's what happens. I don't care. But these outbursts whenever something happens and you're forced to be held accountable for something that you did, miss me. Population control. Just send everybody to the moon just for 1 hour. And that's really all I got to say on this situation. Cardi B and the people that are for her, I'm not saying you can't be for her at this point, and I'm definitely not saying, you know, stop supporting her if you support her, because apparently there's scumbags and dirtbags supported throughout the industry all the time. But all I'm saying is be aware of it, and when something happens, don't pass the responsibility and the buck off to someone else. You're not a fucking above the rest of any of us. You want to know the funniest part about all this? I just read that she got Songwriter of the Year award. What can you really complain about? All that said, the biggest crime that Cardi B's committed is what the fuck she did to Rodeo on Lil Nas X EP. Don't act like